But yeah, Wuxia is
Yeah.
Wuxia,
Yeah.
and then
It's a Chinese genre.
Okay, I was just about to say I have no idea what that is. Can you give me a just a quick explain like a 5 on it?
Oh, okay. So an example of wuxia would be Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
yes.
Okay.
Where
Okay.
it's sort of historical, but then you have like all the sort of the flying, dancing, extremely heightened martial arts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or just a lot of the samurai, quote unquote samurai movies from the '90s with the Ang Lee style of martial arts wire work.
Okay.
Yeah, the wire work though.
Yeah.
No samurai because that's Japanese.
No, it's not. It's not really. It's not. I'm basing this off of the notes that I'm seeing here because it says wushu and then samurai, but that's not the same entirely. You could have a samurai in a wushu film though, right?
Wuxia.
Wuxia. Wow, that word. I've never seen that word again. I'm a sculler.
I was gonna say, wow, that pronunciation you were doing not close.
I have no idea. I can't pronounce that word. I refuse.
Hey, I didn't even know what it was. So you know.
Oh well, there you go.
Yeah,
Happy
but we have learned something today. That's something.
We have learned that I have no idea how to pronounce words, and that's a lesson worth keeping.
That's fun. Okay, so we're rolling now, right? So this is
I don't know. You're the smart one.
So this is for the first one, which is genre, correct? And we do that at a D10, right?
We do.
Okay.
So
right.
technically it is a D10, but we had to swap out two things, the previous things that had not that had been chosen before. So we're at 9, but I can put a 10th one in here real quick, and it will be mockumentary. So we want
okay.
10.
Okay,
so go ahead and
10.
do your thing, brother.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and throw it.
Yeah.
10.
Oh, so it's so it's mockumentary then. All right. So
wow,
so the
okay.
last three.
That God.
The last 3 that I had were the 3 new ones, and so it ended up being the last one. So it's mockumentary.
Okay. All right. Well, there we go. So we add it, and then it immediately gets selected. I'm fine with that.
Yes, that is how.
Okay, and then now we're doing setting, right? And that's
yes,
D10.
And it's 10 again.
Okay. 5.
Good number. So it's spooky location. And I think what happened before it wasn't spooky location, it was like a spooky town or something like that. So it's actually, it was swapped out, I believe.
I have an idea.
Okay.
What you got?
Ghost Hunter mockumentary.
Yes.
Now, I have known you for...
We have to.
We are going to. This is going to happen. I'm already fully erect. But I've known Nate for going on 8 years. I have never seen him as giddy as he was then, where he put his hands together, his little beard twinkled.
I can't help but, because when you think mockumentary, like you're thinking of the Best in Show, folks. You're thinking of the Mighty Wind. Oh yeah, I'm sorry, you said his name. What was that?
Spinal Tap. It's the same.
Yeah, Spinal Tap. Yeah, that group of folks, and just the idea of that cast doing Ghost Hunters is like. Yeah. I want this to happen now. Like this should exist.
Yeah, it will exist. It will exist. Yeah.
Yes.
Good call.
Okay, so let's see what
giddiness was justified, my friend. So yeah.
Let's see what era is this going to be in.
All right.
The present. So that kind of makes us happy.
Of course.
Perfect.
Of course.
Okay.
It landed on 2. So. And unless you shuffled them.
No. I never. I leave that list untouched. Okay. So we are golden then, and I will go ahead and put that in there. So for our genre, we have mockumentary.
Okay.
I'm so glad it wasn't what we just talked about because I couldn't spell it. I couldn't say it or spell it. I'm glad it's just this.
Yeah, I was gonna say that would be like at least now you have some time to practice pronouncing it. If you know,
If it ever
between
comes up
now
again.
and the
Between now and the next apocalypse. All right. And down, and then the time period is present.
yes, and then
Okay. And now it's a fun one. You get into the archetypes. So
Yes.
the last few times we did it where we went 1 to 100, then 101 to 200, and 201 to whatever. Do you want to try that again, breaking it down that way?
yeah, that I think that worked because that kind of it. You know, there's just so many. You know, it's just hard to. You know. Okay, so I'm doing 5. Yeah, I'm doing 5d20. So this is for the first. So this is for the first 100.
Yeah.
What we may want to do when we do this going forward is maybe shuffle up the numbers so that way we get it. That way we're like really shuffling everything on. Okay, so this is 45.
Okay. 45. Court jester. I don't think we did that, did we? So we did a clown, but we don't think we had a court jester, right?
Court jester.
That specific wording I don't remember us having. So court jester it is. Okay. Court jester.
Court jester. Okay, I guess. Oh, that's right. I got to roll it again. Okay, this one is 56. That'd be 156.
156. All right, buddy. Got here. Miser.
We've done miser.
We've already done
miser.
Yeah, we've done miser.
The mole.
All right, so we will rolling again.
Rolling.
150.
Now we have not had this. And this is mercenary. We had something similar, the very first one, but it wasn't mercenary. We pretty much made him a mercenary, but it wasn't that actually. So mercenary.
Okay.
And we have a court jester to mercenaries in a mockumentary about ghost hunting. So
I can see it. I'm already casting. I'm already, you know.
You're casting. Oh, you're casting. I like when you cast. I like when you cast. Okay.
All right, we've got. Wait. Okay, I'm rolling this again. It did 56 again, and it's like I'm sorry, that number is 246. So that's 246.
246. All right, I got you. Let's see here.
Damn bell curves.
Oh, perfect. You said 246, right?
Yeah.
You won't believe what it says. Guess what it says.
What?
Guess what it
says. Ghost Hunter?
No, it's close awesome. Though. It says skeptic.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
Nice.
So we can take this a few different ways. So
I was already thinking like the mercenary could be the skeptic, but now we have an actual skeptic. And we can combine the two.
We can combine the two, which is always fun. So we can either have it where, like you said, already the mercenary is the skeptic, and then the court jester is his partner or her partner, or what have you. Or we could go the route where the skeptic is one person who is like more of a Scully, and the mercenary is more of the Mulder, and the court jester is who they're hunting or ghost hunting. You can go. There's options, but I think this is pretty much the perfect scenario. This is it.
Yeah.
There's no way around it.
Yeah, this is awesome. I want to pull up the list of the cast from those things because I'm like, okay, who can Richard Mull. Okay, who's Richard Mull playing?
Yeah. Oh, you going full best in the show. Okay, you going best.
Oh yeah. Well, like I don't, I don't think we should actually do that, but I can't help it because it just,
No, he's amazing. If you're gonna cast, if you were going to put him in, he would definitely be. I would love to see him as like the skeptic, basically the asshole with his arms folded, walking around.
Yeah.
He's always the best at that kind of stuff. But yeah, we don't have to have him as that. Yes. So, oh my gosh, I love it. So my first thought was when you mentioned the mockumentary style and the Ghost Hunter. My first wasn't Richard Mull; it was Eugene Levy. He's always my favorite in those. Him and his eyebrows and those glasses.
I feel like maybe instead of getting bogged down with casting just yet, we should work on the story.
Yeah. Oh, right, that thing.
Yeah. There's that. Though I will just say one more thing. I think Jane Lynch should be the mercenary. Okay, I'm done.
But you mean that in real life, just in life every day, wherever you walk.
Well, you know.
Yeah.
Well, she essentially played that in whatever show, that High School Musical, anyway, or not High School Musical, whatever the hell that show was.
Glee, right? It was called
Glee.
Glee.
Yes, Glee. Yeah.
All right.
Okay. So story. Let's make one.
So, Nate, have you ever seen Supernatural, the TV show on CW, Supernatural?
I've seen parts of, like, I've seen like episodes.
Okay.
I've seen like 1 or 2 episodes. I'll be completely honest, and it's been a little bit.
No, that's fine. That scenario was it wasn't a mockumentary. There is an episode that is about a mockumentary, but they were official, straight up real life ghost hunters or monster hunters or what have you. But the reason I brought it up is because they were brothers, and their dynamic was that they were related by family. They were very much buddy cops, opposites. One was short, one was tall. Moose and Squirrel was their nicknames, essentially. But because they were familial, and they knew in the family trade that monsters were real, it kept them together, and the dynamic was very much like, it doesn't matter how much we hate each other, we have to do this. We might literally get into fist fights about it. We might hate our methods for doing it, but we're going to stay here together. We could kind of go that route where we have it like a familial tie where the two people both believe in what they're doing. I know we have skeptic as one of the options, but we could have another character. We have an antagonist, kind of a William Atherton from Ghostbusters type as a skeptic if you want to go that route.
So like maybe sisters or brother and sister, and maybe not brothers because we don't want to get too Sam and Dean about it.
No,
even if it is a mockumentary.
Right. No, it's more or less the family idea. We could have any kind of a family, a mother and son, mother and daughter, whatever. It could be anything, but just that's the option. That's an option.
I like the family option, having it be like it's a family business, and have it be like obviously one of the things that makes at least the style of mockumentary that I find the best is the ones where they're extremely earnest, like and they're really into like this is we've been doing this for the last 4 generations, or whatever, and having it be like it's the family business that they've been doing for years, kind of thing. I really like that idea. I'm like I'm drawn towards that.
Yeah, I kind of am too. I like what Ari said. It seems like it might work if it was kind of like I have because of Last of Us 2 and everything, I have such a hard-on for fathers and daughters. That sounded bad.
That sounds terrible. I would like you to rephrase.
What I meant to say was, I like fathers and daughters. That's somewhat better.
You like the father-daughter dynamic in narratives.
Thank you, Ari.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, You're welcome.
Yes, thank you. By the way, I'm gonna start writing down everything I say before I say it. Send it to Ari, let her spell check and proofread it, and then let it be said out loud. But yes, I like the dynamic between fathers and daughters, and we can have it that. My first thought was it was a father more or less teaching his daughter the trade, the tools of the trade. And it could even go so far as to have it that the daughter could be adopted or whatnot, and she may not believe in it. Where everyone else in her family, it's everyone else believes in it so just zealously, and this young girl, or even she's not necessarily a girl, could be a teenager, whatever it is pretty hard up on like not quite believing in it. So that's how I see it. Most of the father and a daughter in some avenue, some way in that realm.
Yeah, I like that idea. I like the idea of having it being a family business, and maybe have it be where there's the father's generation who maybe it's him and his wife, or maybe it's him and a brother or a sister, or maybe a grandfather. Maybe put 3 generations there and have them be like this. They're really into it, and then there's the daughter there who's like really like. God, this is just so ridiculous. Like she's a super skeptic about it. In fact, I'm kind of my brain's going towards the grandfather thing, like having it be like grandfather, father, and then granddaughter, and having the grandfather be the mercenary.
Okay.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
Like he's like the old like level. Yeah, like he's got like old like 6-shooters, or the Ghost Hunter
yeah,
equivalent,
yeah.
and he's ready to get down and dirty. Meanwhile, he's about like a stiff wind will blow him over. But
Yes. When you said that, my first thought was, of course, like Stephen Lang. I love the idea of having old school 6-shooters, and it could almost be in some way not a full found footage type of style thing, but if it's mockumentary, the teenage daughter could be kind of holding the camera, like kind of making fun of them behind the camera as she's shooting these things that are happening, and we're seeing the grandfather and the father bumbling around trying to like set up these traps for these ghosts that aren't around, or as she's watching, we're kind of seeing things from her perspective, essentially.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, you could try that route.
Oh, like maybe almost even have it where like it's like part of like a class project or something where she's supposed to follow her family around for the weekend, and so that, and like so like maybe it's like her and her friend. That way you can have the interview piece. So that way the interview piece will make sense where, she's sitting there and she's, like she's interviewing her dad and her grandfather along with the people they encounter. And they're doing it in kind of like a tongue in cheek, like get a load of these assholes. But they're like really earnest. Yes. And then when they do their interviews, they're like, get a load of these assholes,
Yes. Yeah. Right. Yes. That's it. So that's that. Yeah, I'm 100% on board with all that. Like everything you just said. Yeah. That's it. Perfect. I think in that case. So for the cold open, the way I'm seeing it almost is more akin to like a kind of like Happy Gilmore, in that you see like you may see her when she was younger, how she was kind of, as she grew up in an orphanage, or she didn't have any friends, how she was kind of lonely, and see kind of a hard knock life she had to live for a while. Then this goofy guy and his dad come in there, and they're goofballs, and maybe that this kid, that the teenage character, no one else liked her because she was just a standoff kid, or she may have been kind of I don't know, violent, or may have a troubled past, and no one else wants to adopt her. And no kid wants to be adopted by these goofy people, these guys that believe in ghost hunting and all this other kind of crazy stuff. And so pretty much by default, the goofy dad, his goofier father, adopt this young girl because they're the only ones they're all that's left, essentially. That could be a style of kind of introducing the family.
It could be like, instead of adoption, like she's been living with her mom for the past whatever amount of years, and then something happened and she has to move in with her dad and
I like that.
her grandfather. And
like
this is helping to fuel her like rebelliousness, and this is all stupid, and who are these people?
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I was gonna say that so there's something about there's two things about the adoption piece that I was kind of wanted to push back on. Is one is it almost adds a little bit too much of seriousness to it, I think, at the beginning, and then the other piece is the fact that I think it actually, despite the fact that she's an orphan, it kind of, at least from the way I'm thinking about it, it kind of almost makes you less likely to root for her, because you're like, these two guys took you in when nobody else would, and you're sitting there going, look at these assholes. Like, I know there's I know there's ways to make it work, but if the whole conceit is they're making fun of them, I think it's better that if they're blood. I think it's better that if they're connected. That way it makes a bigger like oh, at the end when, obviously she's possessed by a demon and they have to save her, and
Jesus.
like obviously,
or they're possessed by a demon and she has to save them because she's
that's what I was gonna
exactly.
That's what I thought too. The arc would be that she would have to give in and believe in all the hoopla of the family. But I like that idea better. Okay. So here, I'll just toss this idea out, since you brought up the idea that something that she was living with her mom for a while, and now she has to go, for whatever reason, she has to go live with her dad. We could go the route that either the mom is getting married and the new dad doesn't want her around, or whatever. We could leave it more anonymous, and she just shows up saying, hey, I was told to live here. Or it could be that something happened to her. Something happened to mom. We don't know what happened to her, but something happened to her. And because the dad and the grandfather are ghost hunters, their first thought is, oh, something mysterious happened involving ghosts. Let's go hunt down this mysterious ghost event.
Mm-hmm.
Just a possibility. It would kind of start off the story. It would get the story moving. You could try something like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. I like that.
It's a possibility.
Yeah. So okay. So to just I know I'm probably just going to say exactly what you said because I tend to do that. But so you say that so we start off the beginning of it is essentially her coming because of the whole thing with the mom, and then very soon after that there's we're going off hunting now, and I think and forgive me if you said this, but I think the thing of her being like, no, I don't want to do this, I don't want to come here, why can't I go stay with mom? It's like, well, your mom's in rehab or whatever. And then they kind of drag her off to this event, and maybe it could be that, like I said, class project. She has a class project she has to do, and she just decides, well, I'll just do it on this because I have nothing else to do, or whatever. Or maybe it's
Right.
or maybe it's like a TikTok thing where she's just like let me make fun of my family using social media, or like, it's just spitballing.
Yeah, maybe she's like, well, I mean, she could just be a slacker, rebellious, like, I don't make me do shit I don't want to do. I'll put videos on YouTube of my crazy family, and document their bullshit.
Yeah.
And then she does.
Right.
Yeah, I like that. I like that.
Because we also, the idea is she could have been there for a while. It may not be that she's gotten there day one and all this stuff's happening. It could have been that she's been there for a couple of years or whatnot, and she's been with the father and grandfather long enough to know what they do, film them doing the nonsense, and have a healthy kind of disrespect for it. It's not it's nothing. It's not too like exotic anymore. It's like, this is the same goofy shit my parents always do, what my dad always does. We start filming this stuff and chronicling it in a way.
Mm-hmm.
So she's still a skeptic because no matter what they do, she doesn't see anything happening, or she does see something happening and she's just super like,
no, the former, what you just said. That's our opening. That's our opening. It could be something as simple as her saying, when I was 11 years old, what have you, I was really happy living in Minnesota with my mom. Then something happened to my mom. I had to go with my dad. And since then, and then show a montage of her dad, of her filming her dad and her granddad trying to catch ghosts, and it's like a raccoon, or they get hit by a car, or like all the worst things possible happen because they're idiots. They keep bumbling through, and occasionally you see her shake her head at the camera, or you see her videos go up on YouTube. They get like all kinds of views. It's like they become like a joke basically. They become a mockery themselves on YouTube. Yeah,
I really like this idea because I'm getting the vision of like they have like an RV or something that they use to travel around, and it's a shot of her on her bunk, like, just and it's like obviously a camera that is set up that in her bunk, and she sits down in front of it on her bed and she's holding a pillow, and she's doing what you just said, the explanation of, God, I wish I could be with my mom, it just sucks being out here, and it's kind of like almost like the intro video to the channel.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
And then
the intro video to the channel is our exposition dump that she's doing. Yeah.
Exactly. And then it's just, you just see upload after, like, well, obviously not, like, you would just see the YouTube videos as they go, and essentially the mockumentary is us going through the YouTube channel like we stumbled upon it in the middle of the night on a Tuesday when we were looking for ASMR videos. It's like one of those.
yeah.
Very specific.
I hope that it's. Do you guys know Marble Hornets?
Yes.
No. Okay. Well, okay. So basically, Marble Hornets is like it's Slender Man.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So Marble Hornets, it kind of expands on the Slender Man mythos a bit, in that it was like it was a series started, God, I don't know, so long ago, where the conceit was I forget. Wasn't it like an art student filming stuff for their projects, and then it goes on for a couple of videos where it's just random boring art student filming shit, and then weird stuff starts happening on camera. As he picks up like stuff about Slenderman. Anyway, so I wonder if it should like progress the same way, where she
I
starts
like that.
accidentally filming stuff, and she doesn't really know what to make of it because it just and there's no explanation to show. She's like, oh, whatever. They're still chasing raccoons.
Yes, I'm 100% on board with this idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it should, because I think the opening montage essentially is kind of reminiscent of not another reference, but in the Scooby-Doo movie Zombie Island, I think it's called Zombie Island. It shows them the Scooby-Doo, the Mystery Machine team. It shows it as they're kind of unmasking several phonies over and over and over again. And then the main movie is about them going to the zombie island, essentially believing they're going to do the same thing, and it turns out it's a real thing. So if we set up the idea setting up that in this world, the father and grandfather consistently are chasing down hoaxes or consistently are looking like idiots, when our teenage girl, when she is filming another one of these things, assuming it'll be a big, huge goof troop folly, and real weird shit starts happening, it's a bit more shocking. It's a bit more like, holy shit, what's going on here? And so, because we are with the girl from the very beginning. She's almost our narrator in a sense. So as she's freaking out to what's happening, we will too. We'll be more inclined to do it. But the beauty of it is, because the grandfather and father have always believed in this, they're not really freaking out as much. They're more like, aha! They're on board with it. They're like gung-ho. They're firing their guns at it and stuff. Yeah.
Will come in as the mockumentary, because they're just like, yes, as you can see, so and so. It's just and she's just like freaking out, like, what is happening?
Right. Exactly. And what I love about it too is the idea like that because the father and the grandfather have no real experience battling ghosts and monsters, they're like doing the dumbest things trying to fight them, and she has to like grab them like Penny from Inspector Gadget and make sure they get out of there alive.
Well, here's an idea, I think, and I think this is where we can kind of wrap in the court jester thing. Have it be when, so they're doing the silly stuff, they're doing the stuff that get it, and then real shit starts to go down, and she starts completely losing her mind, and the dad is like, he's not completely losing his mind, but he's like, what the fuck, like he's just kind of like, I said I believed this my whole life, but I haven't actually seen anything. Like, he starts having like a crisis, like, holy crap.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, the grandfather's like, I got this shit. And he just wrecks it. Like, because when he was a kid, he dealt with this stuff all the time. And that's what you find out at the end of the mockumentary, is that he actually knew that this was real. And
he saw the real ones. Yeah.
And he saw the real shit, and he knew what was going down. And so he was just like, this is nothing. And he just takes care of it. And the dad's just sitting there like shitting his pants, but trying not to look like he's shitting his pants, Like,
right. I love it. The different levels of acceptance, like the daughter didn't believe in it at all. The dad did believe in it, but had never seen it. And the grandfather who believed in it because he saw it or actually knew it to be true. Yeah. No, I love that. And I love the idea of the dad being, the granddad still being like so over the top, gung-ho, like nothing scares him. He's trying to fight these things. And the daughter and the dad had pretty much grabbed him out of danger before he gets killed over and over again, or at least as these things start happening. Did either of you see, I don't think, Nick, you might have seen Lovecraft Country, which aired, it started 2 weeks ago.
I've been meaning to watch it, but I haven't seen it yet.
Okay.
No spoilers,
just,
please.
no spoilers. But just long story short, there is a dynamic where it's the older generation, then the younger generation, and then their lady friend. It's kind of similar to this, in that it's the same thing where when the world starts, it's not a spoiler to say this, but the idea of Lovecraft's Country is that that H.P. Lovecraft was a real life writer, and these real life monsters and stuff, they freak out that much more because, like, wait a minute, we know these things shouldn't exist because they literally exist in fiction. What's happening? And they're freaking out in that kind of way. On some level, we have the same thing where it's like the father might have heard these stories his whole life from his grandfather, like the story of the flying raccoon or the deadly asshole, whatever it might be. But so he knows the facts about it, but he's never had to actually put it into use. So it's a matter of him like actually like trying to like fumble around like with his knowledge, trying to do this stuff. And the daughter's like, how do we fight these things? We gotta do something fast, and they can't. So they're trying to figure out how to do these things, and they don't know what to do. And the grandfather is kind of, I guess you could say, he's a bit more like, not senile or crazy, but he's just a granddad, kooky granddad. So he's not the most helpful with everything that's going on.
Yeah, I like the idea of almost like it's a almost like an Abe Simpson kind of thing where
yes,
like through the thing he's saying things that like even the dad, like while the dad believes the things are real, he kind of almost has a more scientific approach to it.
Right.
And a more like, like here's my flux capacitor or not flux capacitor. Oh God. The terminology
the proton pack.
Proton pack and
the
little thing with the squeezy ball thing that like all the
PKE meter.
Yeah, PKE meter. Thank you. And he's got all of those little toys that he's dealing with. Meanwhile, Grandpa's over here going like, here's all your new shit. All you really need is some salt. You need some kosher salt. Now you need to make sure that it's kosher, and it's got to be ground real fine, because if you do the chunky bits and they can get through, and have it be like where he's doing more like old school, almost like witchcraft type stuff. And the dad thinks he's nuts, but they've come to a common ground where like, the grandpa will use a PKE meter and the dad will, put a onion on his belt. But
right.
But and they work it out, and then maybe something happens at some point where the granddad gets taken out. Maybe like
that's what I was thinking too.
Yeah, like he passes out or something, and then the real shit starts to go down, and then he wakes up and he's like, "Oh, you dumbasses! I've been telling you for years. You just need a radish," and then he's able to just end it like that with a couple of guns and some vegetables, and and they're just like, what just happened?
But right. Well, no, that makes that I definitely like that dynamic a lot. The idea that the younger generation or the father is much more about scientific stuff, gadgetry and everything. Like he's a hardcore nerd, more or less. And the grandfather is more or less the mercenary. He's the one that started doing this back in the days when he got out of Nam. So he's like all hardcore. He has Bowie knives and makes rope snares. And as he's gotten older, his methods have gotten kookier and zanier, but he still is very old school. And then the daughter is, because she's a teenager and she's all about the technology age. She's looking up shit on Google as far as how do you fight a werewolf. Google just says what with a question mark behind it. So it's kind of like to see the three different methods they're trying to use to battle these monsters or what have you. But we need to have, I guess, the inciting incident is that there's a real, I guess, ghost that appears or something that they need to battle. So what would be for this dynamic? And we mentioned the idea of having a court jester. My first thought was because on our other stream we're playing Batman Arkham Asylum, and the Batman trailer just dropped a couple of days ago, and it looks really fun and really cool. What if we had essentially like a Mark Hamill-esque type of Joker-esque type of zany ghost that pops up, something that's like so super kooky and over the top, like laughing at them and it's like literally messing with them. It's not really scary as much because it's still a mockumentary. It would be a comedy of sorts. So it's messing with them, but it's like a super duper prankster essentially.
I'm kind of pushing back on that because we just sort of did a clown thing recently, and I don't want to do things too repetitive. And it seems a little. I don't know. I like the idea of it being sort of played straight, where it's like a genuinely creepy ghost. It's just that the reactions to it are what makes it hilarious. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I also think I like the idea of having the supernatural be something that isn't a character. It's like there are these crazy things happening and their reactions and the grandfather, because I still think the grandfather should kind of know what's going on just by being there. He's like, and he kind of explains what's happening, in a roundabout way. But still having it be kind of like is that really what happened? Like, did we really just deal with Beelzebub? Like what's going on?
Right.
And like I kind of like that having be like something that we don't really fully know or understand. But I do think we need to get Court Jester in there somewhere.
Right, we gotta,
because,
yeah.
Well, isn't it the teenage girl because she's uploading videos to YouTube?
She's a skeptic.
Yeah, she can be both, right?
Yeah, she can be both.
I guess skeptic.
I mean, if we don't come up with another idea, that's just an option.
Yeah, that's an option.
Yeah.
We could have it be that we could add another character in as a friend who she brings along that's like kind of like the, silly like this would be really great if she had a friend who also bought into this and was like extremely excited that he gets to go on a trip with these famous ghost hunters that are featured on the Science Channel, and
well, I'll push back a bit. I love the idea of being a super fan that's there, but as opposed to being her friend, it would be a super fan of the show, because I can't imagine her being friends with anybody that would buy into this stuff that much.
Maybe it could be something where it was like a fan who won a contest. To like spend a weekend with them, and they decide
something like that works. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that works.
Oh, maybe it could be a scheme on her part where she's like, you know what? If you like this shit so much, why don't you do a sweepstakes thing and here, like,
and also fund us. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's just like, this is easy money for me. I'm gonna go ahead and make some money, and then the person shows up. She's like, you know what? Fine. You signed up for this. You get to experience it. Have fun.
Yes. And so they could actually be kind of a rich buffoon that's a court jester type kind of thing.
Yeah.
A rich person that doesn't know what to do with their money. That's like,
oh god,
giving them all this money. Yeah.
Oh god, the possibilities are just hilarious to me. Like, having this guy show up with like a bunch of luggage, and they're like, and the grandfather's like, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
The way my brain is seeing a court jester as opposed to a Rick Moranis type is actually more of like a Nathan Fillion type, like a big pompous like rich guy that is like is kind of is a very likable asshole that is also stupid but doesn't know it kind of thing. Something like that. Like a more nuanced court jester type of thing as opposed to the simple
But I think one of the things that's like genuinely the person is like kind of genuinely starstruck, like almost with these guys.
He's genuine. He's genuine at everything.
Yeah. I just really like that idea of having this person being like kind of like really excited to be a part of this. And I'm getting visions of like they say like, okay, meet us at this place, and they're there in their shitty RV with their U-Haul tow thing attached to the back, and he rolls up in like the nicest tour bus ever.
Tour bus.
Yeah, like just like this massive thing. He pulls up and he's got servants and shit, and he's just like, oh, this is so excited. I'm so excited to fund this stuff, and do this thing, and they're sitting there, and like their RV doesn't even like come up to half the length of this thing. I just those kinds of things just
I love
hilarious
that
to me.
Oh, would it be the first time that the dad and the grandfather meet this person?
Yes.
Because the daughter was like, because that would be hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Like
because that'll be caught on film too of them first meeting, because the rich guy is fanboying out and geeking all over these guys. And I'm like, what? Yeah.
Like I get the idea of where like almost like they didn't even know that he was coming. Like they knew he was funding it, and they thought that he agreed to fund it, and they're like, oh great, this is fantastic. And then he shows up and the daughter's like,
Right.
The daughter's like half-heartedly showing him around and like introducing him to them, and they're like staring at her like, what the fuck did you do?
Yeah.
Right. Perfect. I love it. And the best part is, though, I do think it should time out that the first time that all this crazy shit starts happening, where a real ghost does show up, is the time he shows up. So he's pretty much like the Nathan, let's call him Nathan Fillion, is there like, so what's this dude? What's going on here and everything? And he's actually from within, like she could actually be chilling out for the first time. She's like just chilling in that stretch van or stretch bus, whatever, like watching this stuff and kind of relaxing, eating Ice Cream Sunny or whatnot, and that's when the bus starts to shake. Essentially, it actually an actual ghost apparition for the first time ever starts actually doing something. And while that's happening, she's freaking out and seeing all the everything go crazy in the bus. But her dad and her grandfather are out in the woods hunting this thing or something like that.
Well, I think I like that idea. I think it should happen later, though. I don't think it should happen.
Yeah, right away.
That's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there should be some time where even this super fan, like they're showing him stuff and he's really into it and he's kind of buying into it too. And she's like, what the hell? And then and then so we get a little bit of time of him seeing and her being like, see, look at this shit. Like, really?
Right.
You really? And he's like, yeah, this is awesome. And she's like,
right.
Am I the only sane person on this planet? That kind of thing.
Exactly.
Right. Well, because I think ultimately too, we want to actually like all the characters, even the little bit of asshole teenage girl. I mean, she's just doing her thing, but we definitely like the grandfather, the father, and even the rich Nathan Fillion type. We like them because everything they're doing is earnest, more or less. So, so essentially, if you were to draw a diagram, it would almost be like the daughter is like Peter Venkman. Nathan Fillion's character is like Ray Stantz or Dan Aykroyd. The father is like Egon, and then maybe I guess the grandfather is like Winston Zeddemore with a knife or something like that. So there is a group dynamic there. They actually all are doing their jobs.
I think it would be, you would split Egon in two, give the nerd to the dad and give the absolute logic, like very hard to spook into the grandfather. The grandfather's just kind of like,
right.
Yeah.
But because he's so hardcore. Yeah, he's definitely hardcore. But
you're
so right.
logical.
We definitely need time to see this. We want to have time seeing the three of them because that'll be our main squad essentially. They'll be together for most of the story.
Yeah.
The rich court jester, the father and the uncle, the grandfather, and then the teenage girl who you don't see as much, but she's definitely there every time, all the time. Yeah. Okay, cool. So what the actual event, more or less things, because this is still the first act setting things up, which is a good first act. Do you have an idea of what the actual inciting incident would be? I mean, we could go with the idea of it being some hokey goes on with the bus while the teenage girl is there, and the Nathan Fillion, the dad, and the grandfather out in the woods, and she sees it on the screen on one of the monitors on the bus because it has a whole bunch of cameras, and she sees actual ghosts like following them into a cave or something. She's like, "Oh my gosh, what's happening?" She like freaks out that way, or the bus starts shaking, or what do you guys have in mind?
Well, one thing I do want to throw out there, we have to remember, especially if we're doing this like the biggest mockumentaries do it, there's typically in those stories that it doesn't follow a normal plot structure. I'll use Best in Show as an example. In Best in Show, it's essentially just following everybody's journey to the dog show, and you're just following their experiences. Getting there, you get the exposition dump at the beginning, and then you get everybody's individual travel, and each little scene has its own little, like the people trying to check it, like the Eugene Levy and Catherine O'Hara, thank you, checking into the hotel and having issues there and all that. Like you have those little bits there, but it's all in motion towards, there's really no typical plot structure. And I'm not saying we should go full that way, but I like the idea of having it be, we get introduced through the exposition dump of the intro video, and then we follow a couple of the channel videos, and then we have the guy show up, and we have the views there, and then maybe it's this thing that he's funding is going to this spooky town to then experience the stuff, and essentially it's just us following them going through the town, and then it just so happens that when they get to the last building, which is a church or something, I don't know, that's where stuff goes crazy. So that's just throwing that out there.
That can work.
Yeah, I like that idea. I like it being sort of like an elevated quote unquote ghost tour for that guy.
Right.
So he can be, like the audience surrogate as well as the teenage girl. And I like the idea of them maybe they team up at the end as well. Because she's so disdainful of him in the beginning, and he's such a klutz or an idiot. But then they have to band together in order to survive.
Yeah.
No,
I like that. I like that.
Yeah. No, that's a fun idea. It's the idea that once they get to the spooky town, we're seeing isolated incidents, continued isolated incidences of like more or less the father and grandfather build up some kind of incident or some kind of thing in this town as being crazy spooky, and the court jester, Nathan Fillion type, believes it, buys into it, and it's really nothing. It's really just like an apple falls down, like, oh my gosh, the ghost did that or whatnot. And you can it's a little this comedy about all around it kind of thing. Like you said, it's not more until like near the end where, because we've built up the idea that these guys are buffoons that are chasing their own tails for so long, later on near the end, when something actually really weird does start happening, we ourselves are more skeptical to it too. We're not like, oh yeah, here it is. We're like kind of like, what's going on here? We still don't buy into it either. So yeah, that's a fun approach. It's a fun approach. Yeah, I like that. Okay.
So I think that's our movie. No,
that's a strong first act. Strong first and into second act. Yeah.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Like, technically, we could play this one of two ways, because if we go the best in show route, then frankly, we would be done. It would just be a situation of us just setting up scenarios and saying, okay, now they go into the old general store, and what happens? Like, do we just have them improv something or whatever? Or did you want to come up with those scenarios, or did you want to come up with like what the big baddie is at the end and save that for next week? How'd you want to do that?
Yeah, I definitely want there to be somewhat of a climax and somewhat of like a, more or less, like I would say the first 2/3 or 3/4 of the movie is a setup, and it's a kind of a subversion, because we're thinking one thing the entire time, and the big reversal at the end for the payoff is, by the way, here is actually a real monster here, or a real ghost or what have you. So I do want to kind of save that climactic incident or encounter or whatever it might be for the end. It's the third act might be. That's fine.
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
Cool, that works.
And it can still be goofy, but just something there.
Oh yeah. I definitely think the whatever happens at the end, like I think it should there should be the spooky element. Like, it should be like, where there's a little bit of a turn in the story where it's like, oh wait, it's getting dark. But then it heads back to like the solution is silly, and the resolution and the aftermath is a little like, and then we could almost have the very end bits where they like follow up in 6 months, kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that works. And also we have to name this spooky town Wooshu, WOOSH.
We don't. In fact, we don't have to do that.
Oh god!
Because Wooshu that way is not actually anything Japanese or anything pertaining to why our work. Yes. It is literally a made up word that I made up myself.
It's not a made up word, but okay.
I just like. I just like how Ethan throws up an idea and Ari's just like, no.
It's like we're playing volleyball. Here, setter, please give me a spike. And she smacks it down in my face. Like, thank you, teammates.
And I'm just sitting there on the sidelines going, oh my.
But the beauty of it is I am the one typing, so I will type it in the Chronicles of Wushu.
Oh my Lord.
I can't stop you. I cannot physically stop you. So go for it.
Yeah. Oh man. Ethan, you're in for pain. That's all I'm saying. Okay, so I think that I don't think there's really much more we can do this week.
Not much more damage.
Agree.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. But we do, of course, my favorite part of any show is looking over Ari's artwork. Aha, there it is. Beautiful. Oh, yeah, she drew all three of the team, the main cast.
I did.
I like it.
Yes.
What's funny is the granddad looks a lot more like hardcore and together than I thought he would. I like it. But he's definitely.
Oh well,
Like,
I
as
mean,
a goofball.
he's the only one he's a serious business guy.
Yeah.
He's a serious business guy. Talk about radishes and kumquats to fight ghosts.
Absolutely.
I love it.
Oh yeah, I think it's
no,
awesome.
it's really cool.
That is great.
Really cool. Yeah, I love it.
Once upon a time, our storytellers gather, bringing with them only a set of dice, a scroll of magical story elements, and a passion to create. Rolling for genre, setting, and character archetype, our storytellers Ethan, Ari, and Nathan weave a tale right before your very eyes. Stay a while and listen while we share our creativity in progress. Creativity.